Rural communities in New Brunswick face a multitude of obstacles that affect their populations. This is the story of one rural community and its resilience in the face of change. The Keswick area is a small community situated on the outskirts of Fredericton, New Brunswick, and currently has approximately 1,600 residents. Known as a safe and welcoming community where kids could cruise around on their bikes or wander around on foot, in the days where buckling up was optional, on the drive into town to grab fish and chips from Blighty's, where the lighthouse stands now. A daily stop at Brewer's Country Store was a normal occurrence.
Bill Dara, and he had his blacksmith shop. He learned his trade, I think, somewhere down around coal mines in Pennsylvania, that place. So you would come over the top of the hill here and you'd hear that old hammer just ringing out on the anvil. And he could make a wagon wheel, the hub, the spokes, the tire, and he seemed to be always busy. If anybody looked at something you had, that looks like a Bill Dara rig. Well, what it meant, you were just a tad over-designed, but it would never let you down.
The region was forever changed, including the loss of Jewett Mills, by the creation of the Mactaquac Dam.
Well, we've always been, in my lifetime, quite proactive. This community went through quite a struggle during the 1960s when the Mactaquac Power Dam was built. And so we lost Jewett's Mills, which was a whole community. He told me he read the Vantage Village. And so we had to kind of pull back together to rebuild that sense of community.
Today, community members paint a different story. From limited resources to harrowing weather, this community has faced many challenges over the years.
Probably one of the areas that we're lacking in. I know that the kids don't have that place to go and hang out outside of the arena. So when it's not hockey season, and the kids aren't involved in a school sport like badminton, you know, that kind of stuff that our people here in the building organize. There's not a whole lot for our students to do on their free time, and that's probably something that we're lacking in, which is why a lot of our families will take their kids into Fredericton on the weekends to sign up for something else.
Not limited to issues around resources for youth, the older adult population also often falls between the cracks in terms of resources.
One of the things that we are missing, and it became quite clear during our conversations on the rural community over the last couple of years, is we need some kind of form of seniors housing out here. And we've got a lot of people that have lived their lives here, and they don't want to have to leave the community. Here a few years ago, just in 1 year alone, we lost 9 active citizens out of this community. That they all get up into their 70s and for retirement reasons moved to town. And smaller, they sold their houses and went into apartments, that sort of thing. And the community took a big blow that year. And so we need some kind of affordable, viable retirement housing.
Yeah, there's a few small kind of, well, it's not even a few anymore. There's a small business that moved from the Mactaquac Keswick area. They serviced seniors who were staying in their homes. That's relocated to Nakwik, but I think the woman is actually selling the business now. So that is gonna probably not be there. And especially in Mactaquac, I can speak to that, the population of seniors it's high. And they're needing to move in with their younger children, but that's usually in Fredericton because people are moving away just to access services. And we're losing all the the generations of family that would grow up there and stay there, like the homesteads and that sort of thing, we're losing that, and that's kind of unfortunate. Because with that, we lose the history of the area. I think supports for the younger families like mine, helping it so that we can stay there and our kids will stay there, and then ultimately we usually tend to be the sandwich generation that has the children that you take care of but also the parents, so just making it easier by having supports in place. I don't know, maybe some sort of transportation allowance to help get mom and dad or whatever to appointments, because there's no clinics or anything in a rural area.
Inconsistent services, along with long commutes, make access to healthcare a major issue.
That I'm aware of, there's no health care in the community. There's a police station and a fire station, but there's not any medical centers. I don't think there's any, like, there might be people that have like private practices for some clinicians, but I don't know of any. You need to get to the hospital, it's going to be 30 minutes. If you wait for an ambulance, it takes a long time. So that's definitely something that we need as a community. I think we're big enough as a community that we should have one, so that's definitely something that I think is necessary. There needs to be like some sort of vehicle service for them, because the bus doesn't come out to Keswick, so you can't take the bus. Taxis are really expensive to get out to Keswick. So there definitely needs to be some sort of vehicle transportation to get them into town, because if they have to go to the hospital or to their doctor, they need to find a friend for a ride.
I would say the biggest thing is probably transportation. Like I said, my daughter went to school from grade 1 to grade 8, and then kind of after that point, and when they get really busy with extracurricular, the school offers a ton of things. The community really offers a lot. She did soccer and that sort of thing there locally, but when they want to kind of get into other things, or if they wanted to take French immersion and that sort of thing, then you're looking at, you know, kids being bused some sort of distance, or you're doing a lot of driving. So just having those resources available for younger people to help encourage them to stay there was kind of a challenge, and kind of that's part of the reason why we ended up moving just 3 years ago from that area where, you know, she lived there her whole life and I lived there most of mine, but we moved because of the transportation, just to access those sorts of things.
In times of great struggle, the community pulled together as one.
One of the biggest challenges that the Keswick River Valley had to face was the flood of 2010. It was a heavy rainstorm creating a flash flood that affected a number of homes along the Keswick River Valley. So as the Keswick River twists and turns, there's homes all along the banks. The flooding did quite a bit of damage to a number of homes, and when the floodwaters subsided, the residents of the Keswick River Valley came together and helped each other rebuild their homes. So they'd go into a home that had been damaged by the flood, they'd remove anything that the floodwaters had damaged. They'd take the drywall down because it had water in it and whatnot, and they'd strip the house down to its bare bones, and then they'd rebuild it, and they did that house after house all the way along the Keswick. And then another team would come in and do the rebuilding.
I remember we had a canoe at the time, and my husband was helping people that were stranded and that type of thing. The community just came together. The fire department was phenomenal. People who had power were opening their homes to let people come and have showers and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Despite the challenges, Keswick is still here, and its residents intend to stay. They recognize the benefits and blessings of living there, and actively strive to make the community strong.
Community members.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's There's so many people that are involved with community and you don't even really realize it. And I think working in the community has helped me realize that a lot, because I've gotten to know so many different people that live in the area and that work in the area, and so there's a lot of people that really care about it, for sure.
Oh, the people, for sure. And just the support. They support each other. And I mean, it's just like any little small community. Somebody knows what somebody else is doing down the road, but as much as some people complain that that's not a great thing, it really is a great thing. It's a family feeling, and I don't know, that's just important.
And we like it here, like you
I
said.
don't know.
See the water and the good place to live.
Sense of community.
Yeah, and it just, yeah, I'd echo that sense of community, and this is home, right?
I just love kind of that sense of it. We're like a greater community. It's not just little pockets of people. We all kind of help each other out, and anything from like community suppers and doing like bingo and having dances at the local arena, fundraisers for people. We had a fire in the community, so everyone got together and raised funds. And that's not really something you have in the city, so it's kind of nice having the greater community, doing things like that. And great spot to raise kids.
That's probably one of the things that we're known for, is that when someone in our community needs help, someone steps up and can rally up the troops. People will work together and get us what we need. And it's one of the best things about living here.
I think it's kind of common to a lot of small towns and rural areas, just a sense of history, like its deep roots, and its necessity. You rely on each other and look out for each other. And even people who have moved here have seemed to taken on that it's as if they've always been here, like they're very proud of being able to live in the country and have the things here that we do.
This resilient community has been able to revive loved traditions and hopes to bring back more in the future. TJ Harvey, local member of parliament, was quoted reminiscing on his favorite memory of the community. Probably the best example that I can think of was last summer. I had the opportunity to attend the Canada Day celebrations there. To see the incredibly large group of people that chose to celebrate Canada Day in Keswick, not only people that live there currently, but people that had been from there and moved away, and family that had come in from Fredericton and other surrounding areas. I was really impressed by how large of a group of people were present for the activities that day. I think it really speaks to the type of community that there is there.
There used to be a Canada Day celebration here when I was a kid, and they did it for the first time probably in 10 or 12 years this year, and that's probably the single largest thing that brings this community together. And if that can be maintained, that will do more for our community than anything.
I volunteered on the Keswick Canada Day 150 committee, and I was tasked with two chores. I shouldn't call them chores, but I had to head up the parade committee. So to start off with that, like I've never put together a parade before in my life, and it was given to us, the topic. It was looking back and moving forward, just go Canada Day 150 and the history on the ridge and all that sort of things. And I ended up with, I think it was about 50 entries, like big floats, small floats, walkers. It was huge. I heard Fredericton did a green parade this year, and I heard we blew theirs out of the water. So my second chore, or my second duty that day, was to look after the fireworks. So I went around to some local businesses and got donations for the fireworks display. And as you may know, we got all of our summer rain that Canada Day, right? So we hummed and hawed, and we made the call to postpone fireworks till the next day. So we went out and got ready, and we weren't sure if we were going to get a turnout or not, but I think there was over 500 people that showed up to it, and that was a real sense of community. I couldn't see them because I was out in the field lighting the fireworks off, but you could hear the cheers and the roars, and that really made it feel like home.
No matter how far people stray from the area, in the end, Keswick always calls them home.
Yeah, that's home to me. I mean, I go there every weekend. That's my happy spot. So it's great being, we live in Fredericton now, so that's great because we are close to everything, but you just don't have the same connection to people in the city, no matter how close your neighbors are and stuff, that when you're in a rural area, they're family. So, you do potlucks together, you visit the funeral home and the local church together, the volunteer fire department is there and you do the breakfast at the church with them. And a lot of things revolve around the church and the little community centers, but that's important to me, and I think it helps maintain solid family values when you can have that closeness. So I firmly believe in the whole, it takes a village to raise a child. I kind of think the supports need to be there for the whole family, and I appreciate that in the rural area in Keswick. So yeah, I would see myself back there again for sure.
We still exist and we still thrive, so.
You're proud of where you're from. It's a really great spot to grow up.
I enjoy living here because all my friends and family are around here, and there's just a lot of things to do. I have lots of friends, and I have lived here over a year, and it's a good place to be.
I enjoy living in Keswick because everyone's so close and everyone knows everyone, and my friends and family are all here.
I get to see my friends, and it makes me feel like a bucket of sprinkles.
Well, is there any place you'd rather really live? It's the perfect spot. You're 20 minutes to town. You're 20 minutes to Crab Mountain if you're a skier. The kids can still be kids here. You flash the light when you want them to come in at night. It's a safe place to be. It's like, why wouldn't you want to live here would be more my question.